junk, man.
Holy cow.
Pull him on.
God almighty. Come here. Welcome to Louisiana.
Gosh dang.
Last night we stayed in Melville, next to a graveyard, which in the dead community would be considered a good neighborhood, next to a house which in the living community would be considered a dump. The place where we stayed was fine though. The air conditioning worked, so I slept all night, and that's more than I can say for what I did outside. We were the guests of musician and local Louisiana celebrity Von Godot. He stopped at the store so I could get food and water on the way back to the canoe.
Going to the store, to the Dollar General in Melville, Louisiana, our only store.
It's the first time on this trip we've had to purchase water, but the locals all said not to drink the tap water, so we trusted their judgment and loaded up on bottled. The manager said I had to wear shoes, and I asked him to show me where they sold shoes, and when he took me there, they didn't have any in my size, so we let that one go. This was the last resupply. Everything I got in that store should be everything I need to take me all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. I'm going to have to top off our water containers one more time, but that's it. Vaughn drove us back to our canoe, the Mary Lou, on the bank of the Atchafalaya River, and the rest of the journey we'd be doing under our own power. We loaded the boat as we always do, with balance, from back to front. First the water jugs, evenly filled so that they don't lean to one side or the other, and then the cart in front of the water jugs. On top of the cart, the black snap tote, with the drone case and the cooking pot beside it. Mowgli's life jacket goes on top of the black tote. I put my black tote under my seat, and then the food buckets behind my seat. Our waterproof bags, both full of gear, go between the green food buckets and the black snap tote. My life jacket goes on top of the tote, and then the cargo net gets clipped into place over everything, so that if we capsize, everything's under the net. Everything except the solar panels. Those go on top to catch the sunlight, but they're both hooked to the net with lanyards. We've had no shortage of sunshine lately to charge up the batteries for our cell phones and our limited photography equipment. On one of the trips down the bank to the canoe, I tweaked something in my back and felt exquisite pain. It was at about the height of my second from the bottom rib and near where it attaches to my backbone. To ease whatever muscle that is, I had to stand straight upright, and when I sat down to paddle, sit straight upright too. I couldn't do any more heavy lifting, and my paddles for the rest of the day were all soft. Mowgli encouraged me to take a long break from paddling and use the opportunity to reacquaint himself with his kayak paddle, which he can only use when he's the only one paddling in the boat. It doesn't work to have a kayak paddle going on one end of the boat and a regular paddle on the other. I'm always the one who heaves the boat up on shore and ties it off to something, but now that would be Mowgli's job since I hurt my back. In scouting out a place to stay for the night, we had gone on shore, climbed up on a little sand bluff, and stomped through the reeds looking for suitable ground on which we could put each of our tents.
Mowgli, why am I dripping wet?
Because I forgot to pull the darn canoe up.
Mowgli felt bad for almost letting the canoe get away, and I felt bad because I couldn't do my chore anymore, the heavy lifting of putting the canoe up. That's why I jumped in after it. We built the tents instead on a different sandbar, and Mowgli whacked into the side of the canoe to scare all the gators away before he went swimming.
Supper time!
I've been taking precautions around the gators. Loud noises, bright colors, letting Mowgli go in first, not hanging my feet over the side, scanning the water. My working theory is to let Mowgli go in first so that the gator detect his low protein value, decide not to bite the corn stalks he has for legs, write off humans as prey entirely, and move on to other waters. It's only a working theory, but so far it's working.
Come and get it, gators!
A barefoot Cajun fisherman pulled up in his boat and recognized us from a video Von Godot had put out on his social media. By now, we're minor Louisiana celebrities ourselves because word travels fast in the swamp. Cody was setting jugs out with live bait, recognized us, and beached his flat-bottomed boat onto the sandbar. He wanted to hang out with us. He wasn't put off by our condition. When he pulled up, he caught me in the middle of taking a dump, but still shook my hand. He loaned his spare fishing rod to Mowgli, and the two of them immediately started pulling in barfish. The ones too small for his purposes got thrown back, and the ones big enough to eat were safe for eating, and the rest were live bait for catching bull sharks. Neither of us knew there were bull sharks in the Atchafalaya River, but it fits with everything we know about the place so far. He said that's why he was throwing the jugs out. Each jug is attached to a line, and the line has baling wire on the end of it attached to a hook. The hook has a live fish on it, and when the bull sharks bite the live fish and try and swim down with it, they're frustrated by the buoyancy of the jug keeping them at the surface and wearing them out. Once the shark's thoroughly worn out, Cody takes his boat out, picks up the jug, and takes the shark off the end of the hook. The setup can also catch him garfish, carp, or the bait can be stolen by the gators. All I could think about while he was explaining this process was there were bull sharks in the Atchafalaya River, and we had not known this whole time we've been canoeing and swimming in it. We knew about the gators, but I had a working theory for keeping them away, and now I had to worry about bull sharks too. Cody said he grew up swimming in the Atchafalaya River and we shouldn't have to worry about it, but he had done everything the swamp people have done, even to the point where his mother was feeding him liquefied alligator fat to cure him of any type of sickness. The concoction was so bad, he said, that the next time he was sick, he would just pretend not to be sick instead of being forced to eat gator fat. I think that's the secret of the cure. It's just a way to get your kids to stop whining. And when the medicine is worse than the disease, no Cajun child would ever admit to having the disease. Cody grew up fishing these waters and has become an expert on the Atchafalaya River Basin, the largest river basin swamp in the United States. He has obviously been elbow deep and up to his chin in the Louisiana zoology classroom his entire life. He could read signs on the river like drivers read signs on a road. A ripple of water and he would know what kind of fish it was. He would look at the sun and tell you what kind of fish would be moving now. He directed us to a point of land and said it was a likely place for an alligator to live, and just then the gator surfaced. There was no shadow, ripple, or splash that he didn't know and could predict with accuracy what was about to happen. Once we checked and rebaited all of the jug lines and put them back out, he went for the shore, fixing his casting net in his teeth and hands and throwing it so it hit the water all at once in a big circle. He pulled fish up in his net and as soon would release them as keep them, saying that one wasn't good enough or too small or the wrong species. He had in that river access, as much access to fish as someone in a produce market does to vegetables. He was able to pick them up and knock on the side of them, saying whether or not he wanted to keep them. Much like someone in a market would pick up produce, squeeze it, knock it, and decide whether to keep it or put it back on the shelf. It's like every living thing in that swamp has its own language, and Cody was fluent in all of them. He could have conversations with the things he wanted and convince them to come and do exactly what he wanted them to do. All I was seeing was sharp teeth, but he looks at the Atchafalaya River and sees a garden. He just has to pick what he wants. Technically, we had already eaten dinner before Cody showed up, but I had pooped and had room for more, so Mowgli filleted the fish, I started a wood fire, and we fried and ate second dinner, mine cooking in the oil and Mowgli's in the coals. I asked about the splashing offshore and he said, "There goes a fin, that was a bull shark. Let's go check it out." He had it pegged for what it was before we even showed up on the scene.
Holy junk, man.
Holy cow!
Pull him on.
God almighty! Come here. Welcome to Louisiana.
Gosh dang.
Woo!
Our best guess is that the shark bit the tail off of this carp like shooting the rudder off of a boat and then disabled, took a bite out of his hindquarters. We pulled the fish out of the water before the bull shark could finish the job. And there's nothing glamorous about eating a silver carp, especially when it's your third time having dinner that day, or when you obtain that carp by taking it away from the bull shark who rightly hunted and killed it. But given the chance, I'd return to the scene of the crime and do it all over again. Cody cut chunks out of it to use as bait for his ongoing bull shark traps, and I stripped off the scales and cut chunks out that I would fry up in the same pan over the same fire. Once I was done taking the meat I wanted out of the carcass, I tossed it back into the river. He took us around one more time near dark, Cody in his boat, and he dropped us back at the shore once he was done checking all his jugs. Mowgli and I both agreed that it was the best possible thing we could have been doing. That this, messing around in a swamp with one of its natives, was the best possible way to be spending our evening. Besides, when else would we get a chance to steal a dinner from a shark?
Alright, I just threw this out. Judging by the way this motherfucker, I mean, it's a shark. Oh, you. Or maybe a gaff top, I don't know. Yeah, baby! Dirty